If you're over 60 and have ever walked into a room only to forget why you went there, or found yourself struggling to remember a neighbor's name that you've known for years, you're not alone, and more importantly, you're not powerless against what's happening to your brain right now. What I'm about to share with you might shock you, because the number one habit that's silently stealing your memories isn't what most people think it is, and it's something that 8 out of 10 seniors do every single day without realizing the devastating impact it's having on their cognitive health. You see, after decades of working with patients and witnessing the heartbreak of families watching their loved ones fade away, I've discovered that there's one particular habit that acts like a slow poison to your brain cells, and the most tragic part is that it's completely preventable if you know what to look for. Right now, as you're listening to this, your brain is either building new neural pathways that will keep you sharp and independent for years to come, or it's slowly deteriorating due to choices you might not even realize you're making. The difference between maintaining your mental clarity well into your 80s and 90s versus struggling with confusion and memory loss often comes down to understanding this one critical habit that I'm going to reveal to you today. But first, let me ask you something that might hit close to home. Have you noticed that your thinking feels a bit foggier than it used to, or that you have to work harder to concentrate on things that once came easily to you? Maybe you've dismissed these changes as just getting older. But what if I told you that age alone isn't the culprit, and that your brain has an incredible capacity to stay sharp and vibrant throughout your entire life when you give it what it needs and stop giving it what's harming it? The truth is, your brain is like a garden. It will flourish when properly tended, but it will wither when neglected or exposed to the wrong conditions, and the habit I'm about to expose is like pouring poison on that garden every single day. You might be thinking about obvious things like not exercising enough or eating poorly, and while those certainly matter, the habit that's doing the most damage is far more subtle and insidious, something that modern society has convinced us is normal and even beneficial, but in reality, it's rewiring your brain in ways that make it harder to form new memories, retrieve old ones, and maintain the cognitive flexibility that keeps you feeling like yourself. Before I reveal what this habit is, I want you to understand why this matters so much more than just occasional forgetfulness. Your brain health directly impacts your independence, your relationships, your ability to enjoy the activities you love, and ultimately, your quality of life in these precious years. Every day that you continue this harmful habit, you're not just risking your memory, you're risking your ability to live life on your own terms, to be the person your family and friends have always known and loved, and to experience the joy and fulfillment that should come with the wisdom and experience you've gained over the decades. The good news is that your brain is remarkably plastic, meaning it can adapt and improve at any age, but only if you understand what's working against you and take action to change it. So what is this devastating habit that's affecting millions of seniors right now? It's chronic isolation and mental passivity. The combination of spending too much time alone without meaningful social interaction and engaging in activities that require no mental effort or challenge. You might be surprised to learn that loneliness doesn't just make you feel sad, it actually changes your brain chemistry in ways that accelerate cognitive decline, increase inflammation, and interfere with your sleep patterns, all of which directly impact your memory and thinking abilities. When you combine this isolation with hours of passive activities like watching television, scrolling through social media, or sitting in silence, you're essentially putting your brain into a state of atrophy, much like how a muscle weakens when it's not used. Think about it this way. If you stopped walking for months, your legs would become weak and unsteady, and the same principle applies to your brain. When you stop challenging it with new experiences, meaningful conversations, and activities that require active thinking, it begins to lose its strength and flexibility. Many seniors fall into this pattern without realizing it, especially after retirement when the structured mental challenges of work disappear, or after the loss of a spouse or friends, when social connections become more limited. The isolation might start gradually. Maybe you stop going to social events because you don't feel as energetic, or you avoid conversations because you're embarrassed about occasionally forgetting words or names. Perhaps you've started relying more on passive entertainment because it feels easier and less demanding than activities that require mental effort. But here's what's happening in your brain during these periods of isolation and mental passivity. Your neural networks are literally shrinking, the connections between brain cells are weakening, and the production of crucial brain chemicals that support memory and learning are declining. The most heartbreaking part is that this process can accelerate quickly, creating a downward spiral where the more isolated and mentally passive you become, the harder it becomes to engage in the very activities that could reverse the damage. You might start avoiding social situations because you're worried about your memory, but that avoidance actually makes your memory problems worse, creating a cycle that can be difficult to break without the right knowledge and support. But here's something that might surprise you. The solution isn't complicated or expensive, and you don't need to make dramatic changes to your entire lifestyle overnight. The key is understanding that your brain craves three specific things: social connection, mental stimulation, and novelty. When you provide these three elements regularly, even in small doses, you can literally rewire your brain to become stronger, more resilient, and better at forming and retrieving memories. Social connection doesn't mean you need to become a social butterfly or attend large gatherings every day. It means having regular, meaningful interactions with other people where you're actively engaged in conversation, sharing thoughts and experiences, and feeling heard and understood. This could be as simple as calling a friend or family member and having a real conversation about something you're both interested in, joining a small group activity at your local community center, or even having a meaningful chat with a neighbor or someone at the grocery store. The key is that these interactions should involve back-and-forth communication where you're actively listening, responding, and engaging your mind in the social exchange. Mental stimulation is equally important, and this doesn't mean you need to go back to school or solve complex mathematical equations. It means regularly challenging your brain with activities that require active thinking, problem-solving, or learning. This could involve reading a book and discussing it with someone, doing crossword puzzles or other brain games, learning a new skill like cooking a different type of cuisine, playing card games or board games with friends, or even teaching someone else something you know well. The crucial element is that these activities should make you think, require you to make decisions, and engage different parts of your brain simultaneously. Novelty is the third essential element, and this simply means exposing your brain to new experiences, even small ones, on a regular basis. Your brain thrives on novelty because it forces the creation of new neural pathways and keeps your mind flexible and adaptable. This doesn't mean you need to travel the world or make major life changes. It could be as simple as taking a different route when you go for a walk, trying a new recipe, visiting a museum or library you've never been to, or exploring a new hobby or interest. The key is breaking out of rigid routines and giving your brain something new to process and think about. Now, I know what you might be thinking: this all sounds nice, but my situation is different, or I don't have the energy or motivation to make these changes, and I want you to know that these feelings are completely normal and understandable. Many seniors feel overwhelmed by the idea of changing habits that have become comfortable and familiar, especially when they're already dealing with health challenges, financial concerns, or the loss of people who were important to them. But here's the truth: you don't have to make all these changes at once, and you don't have to do them perfectly. The most important thing is to start small and build gradually, because even tiny improvements in social connection, mental stimulation, and novelty can begin to make a difference in your brain health within just a few days or weeks. For example, if you currently spend most of your day alone watching television, you could start by making just one phone call to a friend or family member each day, or by replacing 30 minutes of TV time with reading a book or doing a puzzle. If you haven't been socially active, you could start by simply saying hello and having a brief conversation with one person each day, whether that's a neighbor, a store clerk, or someone you meet while taking a walk. The goal isn't to completely transform your life overnight. It's to begin breaking the cycle of isolation and mental passivity that's been slowly eroding your cognitive abilities. As you start making these small changes, you'll likely notice that your energy and motivation begin to improve, making it easier to gradually expand your social and mental activities. Remember, your brain is constantly changing based on how you use it, and every positive choice you make is literally rewiring your neural networks for better health and function. One of the most powerful steps you can take is to reach out to someone you care about and suggest doing an activity together on a regular basis. This could be as simple as having coffee once a week, going for walks together, playing cards, or even just having regular phone conversations about books you're both reading or shows you're both watching. The key is to make it a consistent routine that you both look forward to, because consistency is what allows your brain to build and strengthen new neural pathways. If you're dealing with mobility issues or health problems that make it difficult to get out and socialize, don't let that stop you from taking action. There are many ways to stay socially connected and mentally active from home, including video calls with family and friends, online communities focused on your interests, virtual book clubs, or even simple activities like writing letters or emails to people you care about. The important thing is that you're actively engaging with others and challenging your mind regularly, not just consuming passive entertainment. Another crucial step is to pay attention to your daily routine and identify specific times when you could replace passive activities with more engaging ones. Maybe instead of watching television during lunch, you could read a book or magazine and then call someone to discuss what you've read. Or perhaps you could spend 15 minutes each morning doing a crossword puzzle or brain teaser instead of immediately turning on the TV. These small changes might seem insignificant, but they're actually retraining your brain to seek out mental stimulation and active engagement instead of defaulting to passive consumption. I also want to address something that many seniors struggle with: the fear of appearing foolish or incompetent when trying new things or engaging in social situations. This fear often becomes more pronounced as we age, especially if we've experienced some memory lapses or cognitive changes that make us feel less confident. But here's the truth: everyone experiences these challenges as they age, and most people are understanding and patient when you're making an effort to stay engaged and connected. The fear of embarrassment often causes more harm than any actual embarrassment ever could, because it keeps you isolated and mentally passive, which only makes cognitive problems worse. Instead of avoiding social situations or mental challenges because you're worried about making mistakes, try to approach them with curiosity and self-compassion. Remember that the goal isn't to be perfect, it's to keep your brain active and engaged, and every attempt you make is benefiting your cognitive health, regardless of how well you perform. In fact, making mistakes and learning from them is one of the best ways to strengthen your brain and build resilience. As you begin implementing these changes, you might also want to consider the role that sleep, nutrition, and physical activity play in supporting your brain health. While social connection and mental stimulation are crucial, they work best when combined with other healthy habits that support overall brain function. Getting quality sleep is essential for memory consolidation and brain repair, so if you're struggling with sleep issues, it's worth addressing them as part of your overall cognitive health strategy. Similarly, eating a diet rich in brain-healthy nutrients like omega-3 fatty acids, antioxidants, and vitamins can support the changes you're making through increased social and mental activity. Even light physical activity like walking or gentle stretching can improve blood flow to the brain and enhance the benefits of your mental exercises. The beautiful thing about focusing on brain health is that improvements in one area often lead to improvements in others, creating a positive cycle that can dramatically enhance your quality of life. As you become more socially connected and mentally active, you'll likely find that you sleep better, have more energy, and feel more motivated to take care of your physical health as well. This is because your brain and body are interconnected systems, and when you support one, you support the other. I want to emphasize that it's never too late to start making these changes, regardless of your current age or cognitive status. Even if you've noticed significant changes in your memory or thinking abilities, your brain still has the capacity to improve and adapt when given the right conditions. The key is to start where you are, with what you have, and to be patient and consistent with your efforts. Some days will be easier than others, and that's perfectly normal. What matters most is that you keep trying and don't give up on yourself or your potential for improvement. Think about the person you want to be in 5 or 10 years. Do you want to be someone who remained mentally sharp and socially connected, able to enjoy meaningful relationships and engaging activities? Or do you want to be someone who allowed isolation and mental passivity to gradually erode your cognitive abilities and independence? The choice is yours, and the time to act is now. Every day that you continue the harmful habit of isolation and mental passivity is another day that your brain is weakening and your potential for improvement is diminishing. But every day that you choose to engage socially, challenge your mind, and expose yourself to new experiences is a day that you're building a stronger, more resilient brain that will serve you well in the years to come. Remember, your brain is not just a passive organ that deteriorates with age. It's a dynamic, adaptable system that responds to how you use it. When you give it social connection, mental stimulation, and novelty, It rewards you with better memory, clearer thinking, and greater cognitive flexibility. When you neglect it with isolation and mental passivity, it begins to atrophy and lose its strength. The choice is always yours, and the power to change is always within your reach. As we conclude, I want you to take a moment to reflect on your own habits and patterns. Are you spending too much time alone without meaningful social interaction? Are you engaging in too many passive activities that don't challenge your mind? Are you stuck in routines that don't expose you to new experiences or learning opportunities? If you answered yes to any of these questions, don't feel discouraged or overwhelmed. Instead, feel empowered by the knowledge that you now understand what's been holding you back and that you have the tools to make positive changes. Start small, be consistent, and be patient with yourself as you begin this journey toward better brain health. Your future self will thank you for taking action today, and the people who love you will benefit from having you remain mentally sharp and emotionally present in their lives. If this information has been helpful to you, please consider sharing it with other seniors who might benefit from understanding the connection between social isolation, mental passivity, and cognitive decline. Together, we can help more people maintain their mental clarity and independence as they age, and we can challenge the myth that significant cognitive decline is an inevitable part of getting older. Take the first step today by reaching out to someone you care about, engaging in an activity that challenges your mind, or trying something new that sparks your curiosity. Your brain is waiting for you to give it what it needs to thrive, and the time to start is right now.